Hey friends, today we are going to see a game between Steinitz and von Bardeleben in the year 1895. Alright, now let's start the game. The game started e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, and then knight to f6. Well, bishop to knight to f6 is the move most played, but bishop to c5 was played. And now while there's the Evans gambit with b4, Steinitz was then advocating the positional school of chess. To play positionally in chess instead of playing dynamically and going for the attack. Steinitz stated that if you play right positionally, then the attack you execute will be great. So that's the thing. Steinitz advocated then positional play, and here that's why he played c3 instead of b4. Now knight to f6, d4, e into d4, c into d4, and now bishop to b4 check. And now what should you play? Well, now after bishop to b4 check comes this nice move. This nice move that I'm talking about is knight to c3. This move is like gambit, the Greco's attack, or sometimes named Greco's gambit. So that's what the thing is. Whatever its name, it was popularized by Greco. And now what should you play? Well, here knight into e4 is the main move, after which is played short castle. And now bishop into c3 is the main move. Knight into c3, then not b3 obviously. B into c3, bishop into c3, and now there is queen to b3, and then bishop into a1, and now there's one move, bishop into f7 check, and now like king to f8, bishop to g5, and now knight to e7, and now there's this new move knight e5, after which here the game is winning, and it's like 9.3 advantage, and now here the game is absolutely winning. And now bishop into d4 is played, then bishop to g6 is there, d5, then queen to f3 check, bishop to f5, bishop into f5, bishop into e5, bishop to e6 check. Now bishop to f6 was played in one game, bishop into f6, king to e8. Now this is totally winning position. And after bishop into g7, now here there's this nice move. And so here that's why now in the game it was not played because it's a bad move. And here well, bishop into c3 is main move, and then there's some theory after here, d5, bishop f6, rook 1. Then there's knight e7, rook into e4, d6, and then there's bishop to g5. Now here takes h6, and now queen to e2, h into g5, rook e1, and there's this really cool move, bishop to e6, with the idea d into e6, f6, and now our pawn is trapped on e6, while there's like nothing we can do. There's here one trap of rook to b3. Now if queen to c7, then something like g3, and I've long to long castle. This is a serious mistake. After bishop to a6, we win, because if you take, then obviously takes. So that's why this is a serious mistake. And now there's nothing you can do. So that's why here he decided, but still after here takes, rook e3, c6, rook b3, there's queen c7, g3, then there's d5, bishop d3, c5 is there, a6 is there, and here overall black is slightly better because he has a pawn. So that's but despite of all of this, black here in the game, instead of knight into e4, played d5. Now d5 is obviously a bad move, but still d5 was played in the game. And now e into d5, knight into d5, but now short castle comes, and now bishop into c3 there are variations, but in the game was played bishop to e6, and now rook to e1 is there, but here was played knight, bishop to g5, then bishop to e7, and now bishop into d5, bishop into d5, knight into d5, queen into d5 here. According to Kasparov, more accurate was bishop into g5, rook e1 check. No, not here. After bishop into g5, bishop into here. Wait a minute, what I am doing. Okay, according to Kasparov, here after takes, short castle in this variation. Yes, queen into d5, it was played in the game, but here best would have been to take knight into d5, queen into d5, which happened in the game, and now takes rook into e1, knight into e7, and now starts the real show. Here comes rook to e1, restricting move, and now after rook to e1, thing is that now I play queen to e2, and suddenly your knight is in big trouble. So now f6, trying to limit the squares of knight, and also trying to play something like queen f7, but now just queen to e2, queen to d7 is forced. And now there's many moves, but in the game was played rook a c1, and now comes the bad mistake. Now was played c6. c6 is a mistake, and now you should pause the video and think what should you play. Okay, now here if you see, the evaluation is plus 3.6, and here it was equal plus 3.6. So this is can be said, but more than the mistake, this can be said as the blunder. And now here was played d5, amazing move. How did he get this move? Okay, d5, one simple idea as you can see is clearance. If we want to play knight d4 96, knight d4 96 and then get a knight on that square. And also problem for black is that you can't take with the queen, there's mate. Knight is pinned, c into d5 was played, but now knight to d4. Knight to d4 and now there is knight to e6. So after knight to d4 was played king to f7 and then knight to e6. Knight to e6 idea is queen g4. Knight to e6 and now what should black play? Black played rook h to c8. Okay, now rook h to c8. Idea of rook h to c8 is to exchange one pair of rooks, but now comes queen to g4 and now everything is forced. So after queen to g4 with the idea queen into g7 check, you can't really take because check king e8 and this is a mate. And after queen g4 comes g6. Okay, and now what should you play? And now was played the move. Alright, should I say that now was played the amazing move queen knight to g5 check. Alright, that's the suspense. Knight to g5 check is a good move. Now after knight to g5 check, here starts the fun. Knight to g5 check, now king to e8. And now what should you play? Well, now it's just going crazy because now the moves are literally very crazy. Now there's 8.0 advantage. Even knight into h7 would work, I think. Yeah, for a short advantage, that is the key. But we need a good advantage. So now we don't need 2 pawns, we need a good advantage and we will get one. So now what will you play? Alright, now we will here play the amazing move rook into e7 check. Oh my god, this is just going crazy. Rook into e7 check and now what should you play? Where should the king or queen? What should you play? It was played this out of mind-blowing move. King to f8. A sad necessity because now if you play firstly queen into e7 fails to rook into c8 check, rook into c8, queen into c8 check, queen to d8 and now just queen into d8, king into d8 and now we are just better. I mean we are just winning because we are 2 pawn a knight up and now this is just winning. But now if you play king into e7 then this is just bad because now rook e1 check comes. You don't want to play king d8 because of knight e6 check, king e7, knight c5 check. So only option left is king d6, but king d6 miserably fails to queen b4 check, king c6, king c7 runs into queen rook c1 check, king b8, king d8 runs into queen f8 check, queen e8, knight f7 here and mate. So after rook c1 check, king b8 and after king b8 comes queen f4 check, rook c7 and now knight to e6, and now you lose this rook, and then you lose your queen and then the game. So now that's why here king into e7 doesn't work, and now black exploits the tactic that after king to f8 there's this move of rook into c1 mate. So you can't really take here because now rook into c1 check, rook e1 and rook into e1 will be mate. So that would be a queen into d7 would be a blunder. So here that's why after king to f8 now there's a choice, what should you play? Okay, now knight into h7 is not really possible. I mean it can, but it should, but there are better ways to win, because now check here, queen b4, why run into so many complications? So now was played rook to f7 check, rook to f7 check here with the idea of, well, with the idea of, yes, rook to f7 check is a good move. Here the idea of rook to f7 check is that when you play queen into f7 with hopes of knight into f7, rook into c1, then I play rook into c8 check, here queen into c8 check, queen e8, now knight into h7 check, king to e7, let's say, queen into e8 check, king into e8, then knight into f6 check, and then I also take your d5. So I have 2 pawns plus a knight, so I am totally winning. That's why here it was played king to g8, and now pause the video and think. Well, continuing the pattern was played rook to g7 check. Well, it's going really crazy now. It's going very crazy, and now it's just simple. King to h8, and now after rook into h7 check, rook into h7 check, good move, and now king to g8. Well, see now, that's a nice move that isn't, but so now after check here, in this position when Steinitz was about to make his move, or I think Steinitz no, actually after rook into h7 check, without playing the move, Bardeleben just left the board and got out of the hall, which means he resigned. So now the game was over. Here black, wait a minute, black resigned. All right. But after that, for the benefit of the spectators, Steinitz demonstrated a variation. King to g8 comes rook to h8 check. Good move. Now king into h8, queen h4 check, and then here actually now queen to h4 check, isn't it? Nor is rook h8. It was just kidding. It's rook to g7 check. Absolutely amazing. Wait, why is king g8 avoided such a good move? Rook to h8 check, as tempting as it seems, is just a pure blunder. check is a blunder, and that's why here after rook into h7, king g8 is this brilliant move, rook to g7 check. Then it is played, Steinitz demonstrated that after king to h8, king to f8 is not possible because of knight h7 check, king into g7, queen into d7, king e8 turns into queen into d7 mate. So that's why here king to h8, queen to h4 check. Now king into g7, queen to h7 check, king to f8, queen to h8 check, king to h7, queen to g7 check, king d8, queen g8 check, king e7, queen f7 check, king d8, queen f8 check, queen e8, and then finally after knight f7 check, king d7, there's mate after queen to d6. Well, that was an amazing game by Steinitz. Let's first do here force variation. Alright. So this was an amazing game. He just demonstrated just brilliant style after this c6 blunder was this amazing move d5. I might not hesitate giving it a brilliant move. Here then just amazing happened, and so Steinitz won this beautiful game. Alright, that was the game. I hope you liked this video. Don't forget to click the subscribe button and the bell icon. Thank you.